Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Ebanks, talk today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, welcome, and thanks very much for joining us. It is Friday. As our good friend Joel Wilson would try to say it, I'll imitate it. Friday. I can't say that, but it's going to be good because we got our friends from the RCIPS and NDC to join us at 1 o'clock. Mario D. Rankin will sit and keep my company on Friday now. Not cause me to get in too much trouble, but anybody can dream. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome very much. Welcome. And thanks to Mr. Sir Simon Miller, NDC's face in place. My friend, how are you today, sir?
I am thankful, Sir Sterling. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
No, thank you, and to many of the entities, from the NGOs to the charities, to those that are charged on the law to do certain, and then to the individuals, whether employed or volunteer, who do much to encourage our community into safe, positive, productive things, and whose endeavors go beyond the call of duty. And NDC does that. So thanks, man.
Thank you for those kind words.
And should we say something equally good about the RCIPS?
Absolutely.
No. I if I might just initially say, as Miss Jody, the individual, from our Youth Flex days to your presence now, as a very instrumental part of ensuring that what the RCIPS does, we as a community can be aware of and can partner. And what is interesting, as I was thinking about today's discussion, it isn't just about a PR or a reminder or a call to action. It's about actually being invested and taking ownership in our community. So if I am wrong in my perception, please correct me. So I see you in the vein as the individual, wanting the community to be great, and then the individual who's also a key and important part of a very, very crucial organization, so that as a community, when you don your uniform, it always worn with a sense of responsibility.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
And for police officers, it's said that we're never off duty. So whether we're in the uniform or we're out of it, it is the same.
Yeah, sure. Police officers, pastors, politicians, and talk show hosts.
I thought we would say military person. No, it's okay. Talk show host will take.
Yeah. No, I only say that with a bit of jovialness because I want people to really appreciate that you're never off duty.
No.
And it doesn't matter whether you've physically, and for my friends found who are, you've left, let's just use Grand Cayman, the jurisdiction that you employed, you left that and you've gone for a well-deserved, earned, and an approved vacation somewhere. A week, a month, an hour. You're not off duty. You're still a police officer.
Yeah, mentally.
Yes.
Mentally. That sense of responsibility does not leave you. So, if we're anywhere else in the world and we see somebody who needs assistance in any kind of way, we endeavor to do so.
If I might ask, and I want those listening, I'm always want to be responsible and respectful in what I say. But I always want to be as direct as I can so that it resonates, right? So maybe perhaps through you, Mr. Simon, indirectly to the wider public, and then have Ms. Jody share with us. We as a public, we are finding ourselves where policing has to be ever more present because we as the public aren't doing what we should or are doing what we shouldn't, right? So it's good to have festivities, but should you need a law to tell you, don't put yourself in a place, in a space where you put yourself at risk and others.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think?
You know, this is not a new idea or concept. I think we've all heard this, you know, policing ourselves.
Yes.
It's the same thing what we say, you know, being our brothers or sisters' keeper.
Right.
You know, if we can get to a state of policing ourselves, watching out for one another in that way, isn't that true kindness? Isn't that true love at the end of the day?
Yeah, man. We have professional associations, say physicians and, you know, the legal fraternity that self-regulate, that have their bodies that discipline that ensures the ethics, their standards are maintained without the need necessarily for added legislation. There may be. We have what we're told, you know, by people as individuals, we should, again, self-regulate. Not always do. So, Ms. Jody, in saying that, here we in a community where we're calling on the police, we're thankful. You know what? Put up the roadblocks because it may deter people from, you know, drinking and driving and the like. Then there was going, but why should we have to do that? Well, because there's some of us who, you know, but for that threat, from what I would say, well, you know, we're going to take the chances. I've only had, you know, 15 cases or whatever. No, we're not responsible. We're not self-regulating. We're not being our brother's keeper.
Over the years that I've been on the shows with the NDC and the Arrive Alive 345 campaign, I have been saying that where road safety and where proper driving etiquette and behavior is concerned, it has to be a cultural shift and change. It has to be in the way that we teach our young from young, and it potentially has to start with our children, not only holding us as adults accountable, but also learning and developing that skill and that sense of responsibility from the ground up.
Right. So let me ask, and I want all of us who live and work here to embrace a strong Kimani ethos that I'm so glad that it's been an example, you know, set by me by my father. The sense of responsibility, the sense of trying to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. One of the former commissioners many years ago talked about the need that there needs to be, you know, this cultural awareness and the cultural view that there would not be an acceptance of any kind of driving under influence. And then he pointed to many jurisdictions where maybe the nature of the people, it's okay, you know, maybe they don't have to worry about driving so much because there's other means. But he shared, if I recall correctly, a growing concern that as a people, now he didn't castigate anybody, he was just sort of questioning and maybe part of policy analysis, projecting what if, as the population grows, as things become more accessible, would we become more carefree? No, I'm paraphrasing. And I looked at that in the 15 or so, 10, 15, years thereabouts, right? That he said that. Have we become to that space where, to Ms. Jody's point, we now have that cultural thing that has shifted to the negative? Or was it always there, but it's just more pronounced? What do you think, Ms. Jody?
I think that life is a progression, and change is always inevitable. The problem is that what type of change is it, and what type of change are we going to allow? Now, we've already seen a shift where there's a disregard for good driving behavior on the road, whether it be discourtesy or just outright just illegal activities on the road.
Right.
The question then is, what do we do about it and how do we make that adjustment?
Okay.
And the issue is enforcement alone is not going to do it. Because if we're going to look at enforcement, over the years, our figures have gradually increased. Now, I don't have figures today for various reasons. But our enforcement is up and it's continuing to go up.
Okay.
And the prices of the enforcement has gone up. So gone are the days when it used to be $10 over the for every mile over the limit that you go, and there was a grace period and this, that, and the next thing. And now it's $20 and $40 in the school zones, but people are still getting those $500 tickets.
Okay, so let me ask, right? When you reference enforcement, and we'll take our first break. Enforcement in terms of numbers may have increased, right?
Yes.
But I wonder in terms of as a percentage of population. Statistically. So, no. The reason I want to ask you now, when you do your analysis, right? And this is where I love with numbers, because 10% is 10%. But if a 10% of 100, or 10% of 1,000, or 10% of 1,000,000, right? And so when we do that, and as you extrapolate within your own terms, if we got 100,000 people, and,
the increase of the population is one thing, but then how does it compare to the population, to the numbers of the police?
Right.
Because we will do what we have to do, but we can only do what we can do.
Right. And as I hear you as well, that enforcement only has to be legal enforcement, it has to be social enforcement, social responsibility, social awareness, and a non-acceptance.
Yeah, we have to hold each other accountable.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Respectfully, let us take the break. I mean, Miss Susan would be happy if we can almost get on time. But make her look good. Is that even possible? She looks so great. Look at that heart smiling. Beautiful, beautiful. It's the spirit of Christmas. Let's pause and take a break. And when we come back, please rejoin us for more of what the NDC in partnership with RCIPS has to share.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman is pleased to present their annual All-Island Children Christmas Party, Sunday, December 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Lions Community Center. Presents, games, bouncy castles, and more for children 12 and under. Busing will be provided in all districts starting from 12 p.m. in North Side and West Bay. Return buses will depart the Lions Center at 4:15 p.m. Visit the Lions Club of Grand Cayman Facebook page for the district locations pickup. The All Islands Children Christmas Party, December 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Lions Community Center.
Reflections annual countdown to Christmas sale is on now. Complete your Christmas shopping super early this year by getting Reflections gift certificates for everyone on your list. Save 60% on all Adidas apparel. Find store-wide savings up to 60% off on tees, caps, shoes, and clothing. Selected Nike, Puma, and US Polo is 50% off. US Polo handbags. Buy one, get one at 50% off. Save on ladies' fashion jeans, one pair of jeans for $25 or two for $45. Includes select Levi's 100% cotton tees by Johnny Cotton, 2 for $34.99. Spend $25 and be entered to win up to $500 in gift certificates. Open Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 9 to 9. Located on Shedden Road beside Mango Tree.
See yourself in reflections.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway, eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. 'Tis the season to be merry and healthy in the Cayman Islands. At Doctors Hospital and Integra Healthcare, we're not just a hospital and clinic with a talented group of local and international healthcare professionals. We're your partners in well-being throughout the year. So may your holidays be filled with the soothing sounds of the ocean, the embrace of good health, and a commitment to a healthier tomorrow. From all of us at Doctors Hospital and Integra Healthcare, we wish you and your loved ones happy holidays and a wonderful new year.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Your Yesteryear Musical, Saturday evenings at 8 o'clock on Breeze Radio. Entertaining, enlightening, and inspirational. Topical with CI cultural and heritage flashbacks. And the wonderful music of yesteryear. From the Thomas Edison era to the recent past. Your Yesteryear Musical, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on Breeze Radio. 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman and 91.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Hey! This Christmas is all about you. Yeah, boy. Flow brings the joy and better value.
With daily prizes of iPhones, iPads, laptop, and gift vouchers this Christmas when you sign up for broadband. Pay your bill on time and in full, or activate a 30-day prepaid plan.
This Christmas is all about you. I'm telling you, boy. Flow brings the joy and better value.
Flow, connecting hearts and homes this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.co for more details. Conditions apply.
Flow brings the joy and better value.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much to both the NDC and the RCIPS for this partnership. For us, being allowed the opportunity to remind the people, to invite us to be a part of it. They're alive, to arrive somewhere alive is great. There are many who sadly would say, better never than late, than better late than never. But I think better late than never. They arrive alive 345. Mr. Simon Miller from the NDC. With the extended partners in the media in particular, it is not even incumbent, not even imperative, not even essential. I mean, it's almost like oxygen that we should constantly assist in promoting this. I love to see the banners that are up on the roads. Hopefully we would see that.
So nice.
Yeah, and pay attention. And not only like we would do if there is some national event, but we see it now and it'll be a constant reminder.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that we can do this collectively.
Yeah, and those messages are meant, as you can tell, they're meant for action. Right?
Yeah,
and we are speaking here about social responsibility, and we want people to see those signs, see the social media posts, hear these interviews, and do something about it. Don't just hear it and just make it go by the wayside. We've been saying for years, RCIPS, Compass Media, through Radio Cayman, make a plan.
We all have a platform, an audience. How do we convey our message? And with this, it's a consistent, concerted message. It's not propaganda. It's ensuring that it's accurate and timely, because the outcome is not trying to scare people, but it's life or death. It not just can be life, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
And it shows every year. Every year, the road fatalities exceed the amount of murders that happen in the Cayman Islands every single year.
Yeah.
So it shows that is the main issue that causes loss of life in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. Can I ask? And I did this at the request of a number of people, with their consent. Right? There were a couple that came in twos. At one time I thought, where's the ark? Because they come in twos, right? Okay. Somebody get that joke later. It's too early maybe. And then there were individuals, and then there were some. And then I started to see it, and I said, okay, what's happening? And they were asking, what can you do? Yeah, we have this, campaign and so on. And in looking at the individuals, some are generational in terms of, one guy said, he is old enough that he remember when Noah was born. That was his joke, right? One fellow, he's only been here, not quite 10 years. There are some, and they're different, but it's from an individual perspective of personal safety. The guy said what sparked him is, there's his young charge that he's in, in his care, and playing in a space that I thought would be safe for this errant driver to come at, if I may use the word, breakneck speed. And so why would that vehicle be moving through this space at all, much less at that pace? And so what do we do? And as I distill all that they shared, this notion of social response or social enforcement, this idea that there's a behavior and what has sparked it, and is it their recognition that it's been in the last couple of years worse, or has it been all along and ignored? And I'm trying to figure it out, and there's many allegations that were levied. And as I listen to some of the people, the accents might, sort of resonate similarly, but even if they didn't, their words are almost verbatim, and allegations of many of us driving without a license, to the point where I thought that can't be. That can't be. But then,
but it can.
And it apparently is. But wow, and what do we do about that?
So I think one of the things that I've noticed, especially from interacting with members of the public on media platforms such as this one, people who call in and stuff like that, is that not very many people know the options that are there for them. So the incident that you described just now is absolutely an emergency. And so you dial 911. You provide them with a description of that vehicle, and you have a police officer go and stop that vehicle and find out what's going on.
Okay.
Why have you been doing that?
Okay. So that's
you can absolutely call 911 and report that incident.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
absolutely.
I mean, I would call, but I would, and I have, and I've made the person know, listen, you're not listening to the reason I call the police, but I would call the police headquarters, not 911.
No,
I haven't done it in a couple of years, but
absolutely call 911 because 911. What happens is they have a collection of all the emergency vehicles and their general locations, so they would be able to dispatch the appropriate person or the appropriate emergency response that is closest to that. And one of the things that in that particular scenario and similar scenarios that we should remember is if you can get the license plate, get the license plate. Provide a good description of the vehicle, potentially even the driver. But one of the most important things is the direction of travel of the vehicle, because if we don't know where it's going, remember it's a moving parcel. So if we don't know where it's going, we don't know where to intercept it.
Well, I'm glad that you let us know that in that instance, just to repeat, so I make sure you're somewhere in a space where a car is coming through full speed, look like it's
in danger, a danger to children, a danger to the members of the public. You don't know where it's going, why it's behaving that way, and you don't know what could potentially happen down the road. That is absolutely an emergency.
Thanks, because if you want to jump in, because I don't want to belabor it, but I certainly want us to focus on the safety and the idea of being sensible in how we traverse our roads, right? But I want to ask that because I've done that in the past. I haven't done it in years. And because you mentioned that, one of the gentlemen that brought this to my attention in terms of the behavior and the people not driving with a license, he's had a number of issues in recent where, from what he shared, either someone hit him, almost hit him, hit somebody else, but he's been present and could determine that there is not a license, right? And what he is saying that he would normally sometimes call the police, and this has happened to me. So he called the police station. And unlike when you call 911, you provide information, you give your name, that's fine because you're trying to be helpful. But he, like me, in the past, it's been, I know 2020 is only 3 years, but I feel like it's a century. It's been prior to that. I haven't done it since, right? Or prior, I should say. And they would ask you all sorts of questions, spend endless time.
That will happen. But what you want to do is you want to control and direct the conversation. So you call and say, For instance, if you just want to provide information, you don't want to do anything else other than provide information, you say, I'd like to make a report anonymously. Right then and there, they know.
Okay.
Don't bother to ask the name and the this and the that. Cut to the chase.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If it is that you want to assist with the investigation, because remember now, traffic offenses are strict liability offenses, and what that means is that they have to be committed in the view of an officer in order for them to execute an enforcement on traffic offenses. So in lieu of that, if we were to enforce something that didn't happen in front of us, we would then need a witness statement from the person who witnessed it to evidence that this actually took place. So in that sense, then, we would need your details in that sense if you wanted to assist. So you would say, there's an emergency situation of a vehicle that is moving. Can I please provide the details to you, and then we can discuss my information after.
Right.
That way they can dispatch first and then take the details following that.
Okay.
Again, this is not something that members of the public would generally know, and I'm hoping that that would assist, but it's definitely something that we can take back in terms of a learning curve for our communications officers and our 911 officers, because it's not the first time that I've heard it.
No. This has been, I mean, I say this because it's not to boast, not to brag, but it's to be accountable and responsible. So if I call, I identify myself, I provide whatever particulars I need. But like this
Takes
gentleman,
a long time.
what he found is what I found, and what could prove to be a deterrent for some people. And many of us don't need any reason not to get involved, right? Is that they spend so much time listening to the particulars that by the time they got to what you call, you're either frustrated or it's too late, right? Now, me being me, if I made a point to call, I gotta make sure that I tell you what I wanted, and you can check me back. But not everybody is willing to do that.
It's definitely something that we can consider. I mean, everything is a learning curve. Everything can be improved upon. Obviously, I can't speak for 911 in terms of their protocols and whatever the case may be, but I know that definitely for the stations, I can.
Well, just so you know about missing the misunderstand. With the police, it's been years I haven't called for 911. The few times I've called and reset. If it's okay to say, and this isn't trying to say this to be complimentary or to kiss up anybody, they are amazing when they answer the phone. They want to know, listen, what happened? Where you is, what we need to get done, to get out of the way, send the people. Is there anything else you need? Do you want to stay on the line? They have been fantastic.
And a lot of the information that they ask, it might seem like nonsense to you, but it's important for the persons that are being dispatched to kind of risk assess, you know, how many officers need to be sent. Do you need like a firearm response as opposed to a regular response, you know, and a general member of the public might get frustrated with that because they don't understand the importance of those small details.
Well, again, just my personal. Nothing that they've asked has been senseless. It's always been helpful. Nothing that they've done the way they've done it is absolute professionalism. They give you a sense of reassurance that they're competent, that they're responsive. I mean, I pray I would never have to call them, but I'm telling you, if I had to, given the experiences I've had, there can't be anywhere else there's any better. They're just the 911 people who've answered in the few times I've called over the years. Amazing.
Well, I'm happy that we're having this conversation, and I'm going to ask Jody, because I think she would know this, but for years I've been in our programming that we do at the especially at the high school level. I teach and encourage young people to, when they see these sort of things, make the call. And you know the conversation, right? But sir, that's snitching. It's like no. So I have to take them through this whole psychological process and make them know that that's you're possibly saving a life. So Jody, is there any conflict with these young people who have been trying to groom over the years to call 911 because of the
not.
age?
It doesn't matter who.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who.
Yeah.
Where the issue may come in is when if an officer has to interact with a minor, then they would need a responsible adult present, so either a parent or a social worker. But in terms of them calling and making reports, absolutely not. They totally can.
Yeah, man. Well, Ms. Susan, you just do that break? Okay. Who wants chocolate? Okay, let's pause it. When you come back, we'll talk today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the all-new Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Ho, ho, ho! Hi, kids! Santa here, letting you know that I can't wait to see you all again at my grotto at Bayshore Mall. I'll be there with my friends from Kirk Freeport from Monday the 18th December until Friday 22nd. I'll be there between 3 and 7 p.m. every day, except Friday, where I will be there earlier between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Along with sweet treats, Santa will have a special gift for every boy and girl, and there will be popcorn, cotton candy, and Christmas music filling the air. Merry Christmas! See you soon at Bayshore Mall. Love, Santa and everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And even though this conversation we will always have, and it should be, I'm mindful that as a police officer, Ms. Jody, and as Mr. Simon, you're over at NDC, you guys got to get back to work because I'm at work. Thanks for coming to my work. Right?
This is work for me too.
Oh,
this is work for for us too.
Yeah, I thought you were having fun, and this wouldn't feel like work. No, but it's so crucial that all of us take on board the seriousness of the discussion.
Absolutely.
And we do this so much so that I'm glad that over the next few weeks as we go into the the new year, we'll have a regular discussion, about it, what we can do. But tonight there's a celebration somewhere. Tomorrow there's one. And some people might just have a dinner, and they might just have something to consume without understanding how that may impact them. In saying that, many times we, if I might say, have an alcoholic drink. We're of legal age. We didn't think it was that much. We had a meal, but we don't realize that it could impact us. So is there an offense? There is a social consequence over and above legal responsibility. But if you are driving, you're involved in an incident, it is not your fault, but you've had some alcohol in your system and you're not drunk, is there a legal responsibility on the part of that person? So their car,
Well, first of all, we obviously have a legal limit, and the limit is 0.027, which has been reduced from 0.1. Now, that being said, you brought up the scenario of, you've eaten, you've only had a few or one or whatever the case may be. But the thing about drinking and the thing about our bodies is that nothing is ever consistent. So today, one might be okay for me, but tomorrow, depending on the composition of my body, it's not. And so, even though, the NDC website directs you to go and try to find out how many drinks will get you to, that legal limit. So how much is too much is enough. We want to encourage you to just not do it at all, because you never know. So if you, and not to say not to drink at all, but if you do drink, happen to drink, then just don't drive, because you never know what could happen. And it can happen to anybody. Nobody's exempt from an accident happening. An accident is just that. It doesn't potentially have to be anybody's fault. It's just something that's spontaneous.
And if I can be very direct, if even though the person is way within the legal limit, I mean, it's 0.7 and they're 0.0001, whatever it is. But it's registered. I mean, let's not use the numbers, but they're within the legal limit. They can't be driving charged for driving over the limit, but is there an offense for driving with alcohol in your system?
So, even if you're not over the limit, if you're found to be at fault of the accident, you could also potentially be charged with driving whilst being impaired. Which means that even though you're not over the legal limit, the presence of alcohol in your system may have been a contributing factor to the collision itself. And so that's where the impairment comes in. And driving, and to be clear, alcohol is not the only issue.
Right.
Medication, make sure that you read the warning on your prescriptions. If it says don't drive, don't operate heavy equipment, or this makes you drowsy, or whatever the case may be, follow the instructions, because that could also potentially be dangerous for you.
And just to add to what Jody just said, certainly any of the other illicit substances as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm glad you emphasize that, because I think many of us probably don't understand that even though we're not legally above the limit, we're not legally intoxicated, we can still suffer a legal charge because we have alcohol in our system.
Right.
And I guess lawyers would say, well, is that contributing negligence in relation to any kind of claim that you may have, but you being impaired, that in itself is an indicative that you were impaired and probably could have done better had you not been. So
our job as police officers is to present the facts as best as we can. It's up to you to say whether or not the facts that we present is not in fact the facts.
It's not a fact. No, but this is where it comes down to what we said: social responsibility, individual accountability.
Absolutely.
And I would genuinely, want all of us to have the best time every day, but to have it again the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, and talk about it and not have to have any regret, any remorse, anything that has happened that, we look at with it and we cannot do. So it is life and death.
Yes, sir.
Anyways.
Yes, sir.
Well,
and that's why we have this wonderful program been going for 23 years. You know, all praises to all those establishments, Sterling. You know, this year we have close to 120 different restaurants and bars across the 3 islands that's participating. So that social responsibility part that we're talking about, and that, you know, you desiring to revisit those places tomorrow, the next day, then just make a plan, you know. Somebody take, you know, do it like how people do round robin. Do round robin in terms of saving your life, in terms of you're the designated driver tonight, him tomorrow, her next week. You know.
And the designated driver mean don't drink.
Yes, if
at
you're the
all.
designated
At all. And these 100 plus restaurants and bars that is graciously given, you know, and being a part of this wonderful program all these years, they're giving you non-alcoholic beverages free all evening. Just identify yourself to your server or your bartender, and
without
take
talking
advantage.
about the school, right? I mean, I had this conversation this week, I know, with a number of people, but one in particular resonates. The team members in the organization, the sort of core of friends, know that George or Mike or Peter or Susan, you know, that's the go-to. And they're so appreciative that they're going to go and have fun, and this person going to make sure everybody gets home. So much so that not only have they pool resources to buy gas, but they bought little gifts, right? Because we appreciate that not only is it that you're not a big drinker, but you're not going to do anything, and we all know that we can enjoy ourselves. And I thought, oh, that is being your brother's keeper.
Yes, sir.
Right? And they show their appreciation.
And sometimes celebrating good behavior is just as important as enforcing poor ones.
Yeah, recognizing and rewarding, and you know, but a social responsibility, conscious ethos. So I think next week we're back on again.
Yeah, I think next week.
And the week after.
Yeah, we're shifting gears and going to start talking about, you know, the New Year's Eve bus service. So yeah,
well, I'll leave you in good company with my colleague Ray.
All right,
you guys will have a great discussion. Hopeful that as we see the police initiative, that we'll partner and we'll do our part. And obviously, 1 year where we don't need you guys on the streets because we're not on the streets.
Hopefully.
I mean,
but until then, Operation Winter Guardian is on, and we will be out in numbers until the end of the year into the new year. We've closed down a lot of our back offices. For our police officers are now in uniform who weren't formally, and they're assisting with Operation Winter Guardian.
Let's get to a society where we understand what we should be doing, that we don't have the need for some of the things that we do. Thank you very much, Mom.
Thank you for having us. As always.
So Sterling, thank you, Radio Cayman, our partners over at Compass Media, RCIPS, and all those wonderful sponsors which we'll bring up next week. Yeah, thank you for having us.
You're most welcome, and I hope that we continue to do our part so that we can't only ring the bell and rewind the hands of time, but boy, we can start now to make it better for now and the future. Well, all the best to you all, and do as I will. Enjoy every minute. Pray and give thanks. The cassava cake comes your way, embrace it. If you get a little dark chocolate and sea salt, even more so. And for those who imbibe with the turtle, even better. All right, we're going to have some fun. So join me after the break.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankins-Allens. The UK government and elected leaders of the British Overseas Territories have agreed a new joint declaration. The declaration defines a new, more collaborative and modern partnership, one that's based around shared democratic values and respect for human rights. As part of the declaration, the UK and OTs committed to improve transparency and deepen bilateral partnerships, consult OTs on UK primary legislation that impacts them, and support OTs to take on more responsibilities where they wish to do so. In international news, a village councillor in western Ukraine has thrown grenades onto the floor of a council meeting, wounding 26 people, police say. The attack took place on Friday morning at the village council headquarters. Police have not yet commented on a possible motive for the attack, which has left 6 seriously wounded. The meeting was being live-streamed on Facebook when the incident took place. A rush-hour collision between 2 subway trains in Beijing has left 102 people with broken bones, Chinese state media reported. More than 500 people were sent to hospital after the incident, which was on Thursday. The trains collided during heavy snowfall while going downhill on the Changping subway line. As of Friday morning, 423 people have been discharged from hospital. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
Radio K-Man is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Hinton Roxroy Connolly was born in Creek, Cayman Brac on the 9th of September 1937. The second of 8 children born to Henry Kitchener Connolly and Olive Connolly, fondly known as Big H to his family and friends. Like so many other Caymanian boys and men, young Hinton went to sea at the tender age of 17, working with national bulk carriers for 5 years. During his tenure at sea, Hinton sailed on many different ships, namely the Ulysses, Old Titan, St. Clair, Petrolor, Petra Sea, and Petra King. He sailed between Portland, Maine to Venezuela. Radio K-Man is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Friday. What date is it, Miss Susan? Is it the 15th of December? She's like, let me see. I'm not sure. She thinks it's the 15th. Me too. But then I say that because someone shared something the other day that questioned, the constructive time. I'm not going to ask you to get into that because that might be a bit heavy even for some of us on a Friday. But in a few minutes, Mr. Mario D. Rankin will join me. Keep the company. Today, as Mr. O.C. reminded us, he has put his show on hiatus until the new year. Like every time Dr. Steve joins him, it's always a education, historical discussion. So our show here at Talk Today will continue all the way through, as it always has. But I will, and with most gratitude, glad to take a couple of days off. So you will allow me to wish you an early Merry Christmas and the best of, all to come. I'll do that again later, but I always do it every day. I'll be physically absent from the airwaves. At least that's the plan. But I want to hear from you. I want you to call and share your thoughts. I want to offer you up at least one additional gift certificate from a good friends over at Reflections that you can use across all of their business lines. We had a fantastic lady who won the other day, and publicly, for whatever reason, didn't remember to put the gift certificate where she could collect it when she came. So maybe I should be a good gentleman and hand deliver it, but it probably won't happen. So we'll call it, and they will be here for all of our winners. A gift certificate compliments of Reflections, so you can use it any of their stores. So if you're looking for clothing, or you're looking for groceries or any of their business lines. And this is a way for us to partner with our advertisers to say thanks to our wonderful listeners. This is a way for the good people at Reflections to, say we appreciate our customers as well and say thanks. It's about working hand in hand. Now, maybe we'll be able to find just the right way to say thanks and to invite each one. But it's open line, and as we shared, as soon as we can open our door, we'll have Mr. Mario D. Rankin join us. And we're going to talk about everything that you want to talk about, anything that you want to talk about. We'll do our very best to not just engage you, but to encourage. We'll appreciate Dr. Steve for offering up the educational aspect, but we might even be able to do that as well. At least we could learn. So we'll take a WhatsApp call. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Where do you think you're going?
Well, where do I have permission to go? Let's start with that. Yeah.
Well, West Bay and Radio Cayman.
That's probably a good start, right? So I had asked, just like you do, where you going and when, because those were the important questions to me. But I was reminded that it's not, the most important one is, with whom are you going? Who is it that you're going with? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I got the where and the when, now I just need to find the who.
We'll leave it at that.
There we go. All right.
We leave the world thinking. Whoever's enjoying the radio came on at this present time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you going off for how long?
Let me see now. So when I leave here, I'll be going until I return. No, just kidding. No, I'm gonna be off for the remainder of this year and for the first week of January. So whatever that second Monday is, I might not.
So who the clone is that got put in your seat? Is he gonna clone you?
You think the world can have a handle the two of me?
Boy, you can try.
Well, I wouldn't mind him.
I don't think you're like that, though. You want to sleep when night come. You don't want to wonder where your mind is after hours.
No, that's true.
Boy. Well, I just wish you all the best, and thanks for all the great service you've been giving us here in Ireland. And I just pray that Radio Cayman can become a advertisement-free station and give the people of the island more privilege to call, because the thing with we people, Sterling, we get discouraged very easily. We can't have everything our way, don't get me wrong. No, we can't have everything our way. But we get so discouraged, so defeated so easily that it's pathetic. It's pathetic, for a small island. We got to stay on our toes and our heels, We got to keep moving and voice our opinions and continue to fight for our country, because it's not really heading in no good direction for them concerned to a degree. You understand?
I hear you. And well, go ahead, but I want to ask as well, why do you think some of us are so easily discouraged?
Well, you see, Sterling, I believe that knowing that we all come from a small island, very small population first starting out, and as the population continue to grow, and then all of the buildings continue to just keep springing up here, left, right, and center. And then we got these super duper investors that come in here that have no respect for who they come and find here. It's all about them because they got money, we ain't got none. You understand? And I got to blame ourselves, and we got to blame the governments. Not anything present government or just down the road lately. Every government that I wouldn't say every government. I got to go back to Miss Anna Holidays and probably some of Mr. Haig Borden and Jim Borden, a bunch of them, and Mr. Jefferson and so forth. I think they really had Cayman at heart to a degree, coming, in those days. And I don't think that they would be happy today to know Cayman has turned out to be what it is. But I think what happens to us too, we have been putting in a lot of weak mind people. And they're anxious to see Cayman grow, but they're not looking to see how it's growing, to destroy the island and defeat the Caymanians. They are defeating us, on a daily basis. And it is sad. It is sad. And the disrespectfulness that we're getting out here of the few Caymanians, Sterling, I'm going to tell you right now, don't be surprised if you hear I'm in jail anytime soon. Because Sterling, nobody going to step on my corn and get away with it. I am sorry. I have had it to my neck.
Yeah.
With the way we're being treated. But I hope I don't go to jail while you're on your vacation,
No,
because I wouldn't want you had to bring me no cigarette, because I don't smoke cigarette for one thing, and I don't smoke cigars.
Right.
So,
well, I think I'm hearing your heart, and I understand your plea, and certainly your passion is evident. But if I might ask, not only go to jail while I'm away, but not at all, but in that sense of, not just despair, not just angst, not just concern that we all feel it. Let's find a way to come together. Let's find a way how
Sterling, Sterling, sweetheart, I keep hearing you say that in many more on Radio Cayman, and I would love to see that. I would love to see that too.
Yeah.
But Sterling, it's going to be very hard and difficult to get the generation that we have now as Caymanians to come forward and fight for the country. You don't have to fight and pull nobody blood. Speak your mind.
Right.
Stand up for your country.
Yes.
Have a back like what Makiba talks about. Have a go on a back.
So
when the go on is dead, the spikes are still standing up.
Yeah. Well, I come from good stock, and the Cayman Ironwood, is certainly tough. So in hearing you, two things, right? First off, I want to say thanks for all you shared. I want to say continue to share. If you would allow us, our Friends of Reflections, give us a number of gift certificates, we'd like to give you one. Would that be okay?
Okay, thank you.
Now, just for...
If I don't use it, I can find someone to give it to.
No, and that's the beautiful part. We know that you always give like many of what you have, right? Before you disconnect, just for protocol, and we can satisfy our auditors, we will need your particulars, so Susan will take them. We don't want you to hang up just yet, right? All right.
Yeah.
And then,
but I'm not finished with you.
Yeah, right. The other thing, right? The other thing is, I want you to talk. The other thing is, as I listen to you, maybe you're right. It's going to take a valiant effort for us, and maybe it needs to be one person. Maybe it needs to be, many people who are coming together. But somebody needs to start somewhere. So, prayerfully, I'm going to figure out what is it that we are doing and not doing. And I'm encouraged by what you said, but by also a number of individuals, many who have been here a long time, some generational, some just a few decades, some just a few years. And despite all that, the one thing that we all share in common is this love for this country, this desire for it to be the best it can be, to revisit what made us strong, to acknowledge some of the missteps we're making, the increased crime, the other things, the ill behavior. But I'm wondering if someone calls that out and starts to point fingers and say, we're not going to accept that, will the rest of us, even when we agree with it privately, will we support that initiative to correct that behavior? Do you think we have that courage to stand and do the right thing? As a people, not just Caymanians, but as a people who are here.
Few will stand, very few. And it's a shame that it will be only a few, and a few of us, but then again, it may be a few more foreigners that have been here for a long time, and it's saddened to know how Cayman has gone down in different tubes and different roads. Let me be surprised and hope you could get standing with us.
Yeah. And ask you, but you did say it was something else you want to share, it, so I don't want to put you off your point. So I can come back to mine, but you chat if you wish.
Yeah. The other evening when I was coming up, I'm like, oh my God, the metal billboard gone across the street. I was so shocked that it didn't dawn on me till next morning when it was coming on 6 o'clock. I said, when I got under it, I say, welcome to Miami. That's all I could say. But then again, Sterling, when I saw that went up and they say, what's for? I say, something. The tax man is always calling about tax. And yesterday I was on a tour and I only heard the last couple minutes of your show when I heard your guest talking about taxes, and that's what I want to call you in regards to. Sterling, we're going to have to do something in some sort of tax form for this island because there's too many people coming here getting fat like a rat and not appreciating this island, and they're getting away with murders. We got to stop making everybody think that this is a land still of milk and honey for everybody to come here and government and need an NRA and put all of this effort out here in the road. You should see the signs on the road, getting this lean and getting that lean and yakety yak, and they're still doing the crazy things, right? They are spending money left, right, and center, and nobody wants to obey the road rules and regulation. So we're gonna need some sort of tax. And I'm gonna say right now, I don't care who like it, and I'm not saying a few Caymanans who left here, not us. We are not the problem. We got to look at the population that we are bringing in here from every different nationalities coming here. No disrespect to any nationality, but they cannot come here and get fat and destroy our island and go back home and live on a hill, and they comfortable home that Cayman while they work here and make their money. They earn their money, don't get me wrong. And they go on home and relax, enjoy it, and Cayman mash up.
Well,
Cayman mash up.
I do recognize the concern. I also appreciate that sometimes many jurisdictions see taxation as a way to ensure that government has sufficient revenue to fund its programs, introduce new programs. We understand from not just media out of Bermuda, but international media, that Bermuda is considering, corporate tax. As I read, what was published, they talk about a uniform tax code, globalized standard relative to everybody having the same thing. That in itself should give us pause. But is the imposition of a tax something that tends to discourage productivity? Does it sanction something in order to discourage it? Is it something that will be, once raised, put to the benefit of the country? Will it punish one group so that another can benefit at the expense of the group? And do we have the wherewithal to look at it objectively? And why I say that is that as I listen to some people talking about levying taxes on certain quarters, I wonder if it's done from a honest, constructive, objective perspective, or it's done from some other ulterior motive.
Sterling, the visitors ask, how can you all maintain this island without taxes? How do you all pay for your roads and your schools and your health care and so forth and so forth? And when you got to tell them what we are doing to bring in our money, Sterling, we cannot continue to rely on that. I have to name out what they are.
No.
Know what they
I understand.
You understand?
And you're right. I mean, it may not be a sustainable way to fund a government. But I say this, and this is only because I'm intrigued by your intellect and encouraged, by your dialogue. But questions have to be asked, right? If we look at what we have, are we getting sufficient value for money when the government spends the funds, either it raises through taxes, because we have taxes here. We just call them something else, and it's in many cases indirect, but they're very, very direct taxations. That licensing fee you pay, and the like. But secondly, can we also have added money to spend? What is it our parents used to tell us? A dollar saved is a dollar earned, right? And as we look at it now, again, looking at the population and the like, are we really, really in dire straits? If so, why? As a country, not as individuals. Maybe we
are in dire strait because we're overpopulated, and a lot of people is coming here and benefiting one way or the other, and they don't care about Cayman. They don't care about Cayman, Mr. Dwayne, and it is sad. And what I come across on a daily basis tells me that Cayman means nothing to them. It's the dollar bill and they can move around freely, and they don't be stopped by no cops. They're not being harassed here or there. They're just flying free.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask, and I'm asking this to the people who are perhaps will identify as being, same as me, a registered voter, a person who's invested, interested, and takes ownership in our country. And if there is something, so a good way to maybe introduce that is to revisit something I've been asking. Having people who, over the last, this would be now almost 2 months, right? Repeatedly in the last 2 months, reference the increase in people who are driving vehicles on our roads in a car that is licensed, in a car that is insured, but the driver of that car has not a driver's license, not a suspended license, not a license that's expired, does not have a driver's license. If that is something that is on the increase, if it's something that is commonplace, why are we as a society somehow facilitating that? Why are we accepting that? Why are we, not able to address that, right? Sorry, Mom.
I hope that next year will be a better year for this island and all of us, because it's not looking good.
Right.
It's not looking good.
Okay.
But I know it's time for you to go.
Yes,
so
yes,
I'm
yes.
not going to tell you to tell me this time to go. I'm going to tell you this time to go.
Well,
and
yes.
Happy holidays to all the staff in there.
Thank you.
Tell Suzanne I can't wait to hear her beautiful music in the days that you're not going to be there and when you're going to be back there.
The show will continue.
Have a good Christmas and keep safe.
Thank you.
Remember what's the reason for the season, okay?
Yes.
I know you know that.
Right, but do not hang up yet. Right? Just let Susan properly take the number you want to leave and get the information.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she will.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And
Thank
then
you.
we'll skip Shilakis for you. Thank you. Well, before we go to the break, as promised. Now, there's a caller, I think, coming in, but if the caller wants to get on air, we'll have to call the WhatsApp number if possible. It's the same number, but if you call it as a regular cell call, you can't get in. 925-32621. I look across the table, and there he was, patient as we were respectfully listening to the caller, Mr. Mario D. Rankin. What's happening, man?
Good afternoon, and the traffic is crazy.
It's gotten worse?
My goodness.
Yeah.
You
didn't send a helicopter for you, man? No, let me be here. No,
I got a drone.
Have you seen the personalized drones now that can deliver not just packages but people?
Well, when I was in Miami a few weeks ago, and I was down in Brickell, and there was this pizza delivery robot, but it was like a little it looked like a cooler with wheels, and it was going across the crosswalk, and I was like, if I were homeless and hungry, I wouldn't only have me a delivery service, I'd have me a pizza too.
Yeah, but let me ask, because I haven't seen it personally, but I've had others who shared it and in California and somewhere else, right? It looks like you said, and it has almost looked like one of those minions, but somehow. But how do you, the individual, open that? So you've ordered a pizza, it's in this cooler, it's now self-driving, and it crosses the street and up on the sidewalk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you open it?
It has an address that is programmed in it.
Uh-huh.
And once it gets to that address, I think once it identifies that it's at that address, because if it can find its way from the pizza parlor to the address, it must have the capability to say, well, I'm at the address, I can open up now.
Okay. Because, I love science, right? And despite how much I know that, if it's okay to say, I truly admire and respect Miss Norma. She's amazing. I hope she doesn't mind being embarrassed somewhat. I think all the team would say that, she'll come and she'll probably host the show if she had to. She'll photocopy, she'll do the board, she'll answer the phone. She does it all, right? She'll also chastise and say, listen now, what do you mean you're not doing what you're supposed to do, right? And so we have this chat, and I like technology, but I want it to serve me. I don't want to be a slave to it. But I found that if you and I are having a chat and we can't talk because, this device gets in the way, I'm too distracted, I can't listen to you, right? Why I say that is that looking at how technology is used, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jump in.
I'm following you and I agree, but let me put something in perspective for you. So we know that Tesla has self-driven cars. All right. Let me just state this.
Yeah.
if we are not confident enough in the ability of human beings ourselves driving cars, how is it that we're comfortable with cars driving us who are built and designed by human beings?
Okay, so it's a matter of individual, so it's a matter of trust, right? So would you get in a vehicle, no matter what it is, sit in the back seat, front seat, or whichever, and there's no driver, and you let that vehicle take you from point A to point B?
All right. Have you ever been on the? Hold on. Before I answer that question,
I think I know you're gonna ask, but yeah.
No. I don't, listen, this one is outside of the box.
You sure? Okay.
Have you
read it down.
Have you ever been to the Miami International Airport and got on the tri-rail that takes you to the car center?
No driver.
And a driver in that?
No driver.
No, but what's the difference? That's on a rail, attached to a rail. That can't go anywhere other than point A to point B. You don't have to worry about that developing some hacker's idea of, instead of taking Mario to Walmart or Best Buy or wherever, I got to take him to the worst neighborhood in Florida.
Okay, so that may be. But when you come back to the break, perhaps we chat about that or anything else.
Or maybe in a tree.
Right. But one of the things that they're trying to consider in terms of these is that when you get into the vehicle, you now see outside. There'll be a wonderful blackout screen with something. And
that makes it worse.
And you're going to be entertained with these games and whichever, so that you just get in blindly. Also, not just the car, but what about the airplane? It'll fly you, right? Pilotless airplane, you get in and you fly. Maybe it's 2 for you.
I go everywhere by boat then.
All right, we got to take the break, Miss Susan? Still waiting for the chocolate? All right, stay tuned for Dr.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway, eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Kirk Freeport's annual $40,000 Christmas sweepstakes is back once again. Simply spend $100 at your favorite Kirk Freeport store to enter to win one of 3 $5,000 cash prizes, one of 5 $1,000 cash prizes, and loads of other great prizes throughout December. And of course, the one you're all waiting for, the Rolex watch prize draw for all entries will be held on January 5th. All purchases of $100 at any Kirk Freeport store before Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. Full details on kirkfreeport.com. Merry Christmas from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us, and thanks for sharing your thoughts, and thanks to Mario. Hope you don't mind me saying Mario D. Rankin.
No, man.
Yeah? I mean, if you could have the U.S. Surgeon General, I liked him on C. Everett Koop. Remember him? Well, you were probably too young to remember him.
Yeah, too young.
Better than the, anyway. But with you, like Elio yesterday, like others, when you come in, you bring your perspective. We have a discussion. We encourage good dialogue, and we get people to think.
Right.
And what's interesting is that we may agree, we may not agree, but at least we have something that we can consider.
Yeah.
And I thank you for accepting the invite to join me. But I want you to share as you wish, and then I'll do my best not to get you in trouble.
Yeah, well, I think that there are a lot of things that are long overdue in regards to implementing a few ideas and actions than which has been talked about for years. And I guess I could speak about the traffic situation, especially when I just came out of it, knowing the situation as it sits, right? And a lot of people will have a lot of different opinions based on their own personal experience, and that's fine, that's good. But if we realistically need to fix some of the issues that we face, I hear a lot of people, and a lot of it is political posturing, because the opposition will say this about that, and the government will say this about that, and then they'll go at it, and then they'll go into the lunchroom and eat together and talk about other things that not even priority.
Right. Okay.
No, but what I will say about this, and I'll say it again, and I, you know, when I looked at the new appointment for the Human Rights Committee, you saw who the new appointment is, right? Mr. Bentona, and the governor appointed him, right? Now we got someone who is the chairman of our Human Rights, that nobody in Cayman had any contribution on who we appointing, right? Now, are our human rights important to us on how they're laid out and enforced, or is it important to the UK? I'm asking. So I'm asking a very valid question, simply because the last time I checked, it said the Cayman Islands Constitution is what it read on top.
Can I add one other key word?
Yeah.
Constitutional order.
Okay.
I think that's what it says, right?
Right. But
okay.
but in any event,
no, I hear you.
It said the Cayman Islands.
Right.
All right. Now, I don't have anything against Mr. Bentona. I'm not saying that he's not capable.
No.
I'm not at all. What I am saying is that when we dive into the human rights element of the constitutional order, we have to be very mindful that it is crafted in a way that if we even remotely suggest the violation of something that is in that constitution, then we have a task at hand from a legal standpoint, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, when I say these words, well, if we want to fix the traffic in the Cayman Islands, we can do one thing that could fix the problem. I ain't talking about help the problem. I'm talking about fixing the problem.
Okay.
And let me tell you what that is. If you're not Caymanian, status holder, permanent residence, you can't have a driver's license in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
One would argue, well, we don't have a proper transportation system. Well, here's the thing, right? Cayman not really that big, you know. Cayman not really that big. Do we have buses and taxis running daily? We do. Can they be more efficient? They can. Will they ever be more efficient if they don't have to be? No. So, if we're willing to continue to build infrastructure to accommodate a large section of the workforce who are on work permits, who sends all of their money back to their country's economy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not speaking against those individuals. I'm simply saying is that if we don't have proper structure in place to protect the sustainability and well-being of our people, then what's the sense of all of these efforts in all of these different areas in order to accommodate a well-run country? Because at the end of the day, Sterling, if we go now, because remember now, there'll be a revenue gap. You know, there will be a revenue gap if we were to implement that, because all of the money the government makes from the licensing fees, the appointment fees, and all of the necessary fees surrounding attaining a driver's license, that then takes a hit.
Okay.
Right? Now, if we got 38,000 people, hypothetically, I don't know the exact numbers on work permit.
Right.
Out of that 38,000, I would venture to say 90% of that is people who work in the construction industry, the lawn and gardening, the helpers, the people who work in the supermarkets, and, you know, the people that are on the lower end of the work scale. And it seems like we don't want to categorize it, which we should, cheap labor versus executive labor versus whatever labor, right? We don't categorize it, I guess, because we'd be violating somebody's human right.
Huh.
So it goes back to the Constitution, right? So I'm saying to myself, why is it that, because construction is booming, our development is booming, which is a good thing for the economy. And if you, let's just say that industry and the other industry where you got people working in the supermarkets and the warehouse workers, the shelf packers, if none of those people had driver's license, we wouldn't have no problem with traffic, Sterling, because during the summer months of school, the only people that not driving in the morning is Caymanian people who got children that go into school. Now, that's a very small percentage of people that are off the road during those 2 wonderful months.
Yeah.
And we see, obviously, the impacts that have. So and like I said, if 38,000 people on work permits, let's say 90% of them got a license. If we take in 29,000 people out of a car on our roads, we've just fixed the traffic problem. Now, are those people who are eligible to get licenses be upset? Of course, but will they adjust? You know why they gonna adjust? Because where they come from, it ain't no better.
Yeah.
And they had to adjust from there by traveling here. But you see, everything that we produce in Cayman is a rollout policy. It's a red carpet service. Oh, come to Cayman, you get a license, you can buy a car from Japan, you can sell it on the side of the road while you're working at your construction site. Oh, by the way, guess what? You can buy 2 cars from Japan, rent one to your co-worker.
Yeah. And you don't need a license to do any of it. And if you need a license, we could get it for free. Okay.
No. Yeah. And if you do need a license to do it, you're working outside the conditions of your work permit, because that's gainful occupation. Hold on, give one better than that. Jeez. And because we depend on the duty for importation of cars, we're not even heavily looking at, this guy is on a work permit for XYZ construction company, but he just brought in 6 cars in the last 2 years. He can't drive 6 cars, so he must be either renting them or reselling them. So the fact that we don't have the resources and the manpower to police whether or not he got a proper trade and business license while he's here to do these things, we don't enforce these things. And these are the things that fundamentally affect the infrastructure and the social well-being in Cayman. Facts.
See, that's why I like how you think and what you say. And it's just not just analysis, but potential solution oriented and right?
And to put the cherry on the cake, all of the revenue that they derive from their extracurricular activity outside the conditions of the work permit goes back to their economy in their country.
But that added, I'll use a word, you let me know, added impact on the infrastructure requires government now to expend further money to address, all right? So in that, if the person, as you described now, is working outside of their license and the cost of it, whether we give them a license to do so.
Well,
we just add
Okay, just take a 2-second pin to your point.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the immigration law that states a person on a work permit can buy a car from Japan and import it in Cayman and sell it. That is perfectly legal.
Yeah.
So why is it that we don't put strict guidelines for people who are on work permits in certain categories? Why don't we have strict language that clearly states, listen, your work permit, first of all, we need to highlight that in the very first line of the paragraph. Your work permit is a privilege.
Yeah.
Number one.
Right. I want to ask you, well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I'm told, and I have not applied for nor filled out a work permit in the longest of time, right? directly that I should how to pay attention to anyway. Put it that way.
Well, if you can't prove your Cayman, you're gonna need a permit.
Yeah, I think Miss John says to me just now that I got refrain from that right now.
All right, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm interested to hear.
Yeah. On it used to be. I'm pretty sure. On it somewhere, it was usually at the bottom. This work permit does not entitle you to status, citizenship, or anything else, right? But I'm told that's no longer true. It doesn't appear anymore. So you've been issued a lawful work permit. You're working and your fees are paid and everything, but it had on it and in the body of the document and printed at the bottom of the form that this, it's very specific, very explicit. This does not guarantee you or make you eligible to apply for status or anything.
Yeah, but that doesn't say that it doesn't prevent you either, though.
No, right. And I understand.
So what's the sense of putting it there?
Yeah, and an attorney who quoted an authority that said, well, we had, in order to be, back to your issue of human rights compliant, we had to at least allow people to apply. Now, I'm not going to get into the legal argument. I was intrigued by the discussion from both sides. But to your point, what I'm asking is, if we, as you very sensibly, at least into my ears, it makes sense. People come in, they're permitted to come in. There should be restrictions, as there are. Let me then make sure I'm understanding this. George comes in, works for Company A as an accountant, right? George can go work for Company B as a chef. Right?
Agreed. Well, unless
without a variation approval.
Without the variation approvals and submission.
Right.
But to your point, while I got that chain of thought, because I tend to lose my memory
sometimes
quicker now than I have in the past because of the whole situation. Right. What I will say is this, Sterling, is that if we want to put something proper in place that we don't violate human rights, okay, so what we should do is put within our immigration policy, in order to be eligible to submit an application to become a permanent resident in the Cayman Islands, and then subsequently after they're on a status holder, based on review and assessment, you have to be living and working and contributing to the economy of the Cayman Islands for no less than 10 years. All right? Once you put that in place, that's our protection. Right?
Okay.
All right. Now, when you have a certain category of work permits that are being granted, right? The conditions of the work permit should clearly say, or we should put another policy in place to say, in this occupation, you can only hold this permit for no longer than 3 years. Now, it's similar to the rollover policy, but not even remotely close to the policy that I would put in place.
Right.
That in this category of work, you cannot hold this permit for no longer than 3 years.
Okay.
No longer than 3 years. That would be the common laborers, the people that are coming in to do the in transit cheap labor and whatnot, right? So, and even from the executive level, because we must take into consideration our own harvest of people for every category of work to ensure that we don't disenfranchise them from the opportunity to participate on all levels, not only to mention the highest levels. So when we come from that category, then you got another category that goes a step above and say, okay, in this job field, you can't have a permit no longer than, say, 5 years, and then so on. But none of those permits is to exceed more than 10.
Okay.
Right? Only if a person retires on the top tier, retires completely, decides to purchase a house or have a family and uproot and come here and can show the financial means to take care of yourself and not compete, not only in the work permit field, but also in the trade and business license field.
Right.
And that if you are granted a permanent residency in the Cayman Islands, you can't apply to a no trade and business license in these islands to compete with local people. These are the strong immigration policies that we need to put in place, because only on special cases that you can have the ability to apply for a tribunal to review case by case. And if we don't put those things in place, listen, I do not make no apology for anything I say that will protect potentially the future generations of having the opportunity to participate on all levels and on the highest levels in the Cayman Islands. That's how I see it.
Yeah, man. And listen to you, you raise a number of points I wanted to ask. Let's maybe start at one of the last ones. The notion that someone who is on a work permit, right? And they here, we always have restrictions, relative to how they can work and when and whichever. The idea of a car, should we then say, okay, you've been here all along, you've been here now, you have a car, you have a license. Do we now, on renewal, rescind that driver's license, or we want to do it going forward when the law becomes effective?
Well, what we should do in regards to people on a work permit that has a driver's license, they should pay a road tax. And only the people that have
in addition to the license.
In addition to the license. You know why? You know what's called a road tax? Road tax to maintain the road and to build new roads.
Okay. All right. We got to take the break. I want to ask you some other things. Look at that. Let's pause. Join us after.
Santa says ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho! Don't miss your chance to win big this holiday season with the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Win $30,000 to pay your bills.
Merry Christmas!
Each time you top up your tank with $25 of fuel or merchandise from Jose's 24-hour food mart, you earn another stamp. Collect 6 stamps and you're entered to win a lot of awesome prizes. You could be the lucky winner of $30,000 to pay your 2024 bills. Don't forget to share the Christmas spirit with gift certificates your loved ones can use at Reflections, Liquor for Less, Hemp and Tobacco, Food for Less, or Jose's Rubis. Now open 24 hours a day to serve you.
Merry Christmas!
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. 'Tis the season to be merry and healthy in the Cayman Islands. At Doctors Hospital and Integra Healthcare, we're not just a hospital and clinic with a talented group of local and international healthcare professionals. We're your partners in well-being throughout the year. So may your holidays be filled with the soothing sounds of the ocean, the embrace of good health, and a commitment to a healthier tomorrow. From all of us at Doctors Hospital and Integra Healthcare, we wish you and your loved ones happy holidays and a wonderful new year.
I love Pizza Boat. It's yummy. It has my 2 favorite things combined, cheese and boats. Pizza Boat makes pizza way more fun.
Hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Kids, now Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. Lunch or dinner, let Pizza Boat bring the fun. Pizza Boat, a Cayman twist to pizza, bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
Brand Source Home Gallery is having a huge sale on all brands of kitchen and laundry appliances just in time for Christmas. Shop the month of December and save. Get 15% off ice makers and 20% off wine coolers and beverage centers. Spend $4,000 or more and receive bigger discounts for every $1,000 spent. You could receive up to 20% off. Save big on all kitchen appliances, including laundry, on all brands. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive at Industrial Park or call 623-5000.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from December 11th through the 16th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 949-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Mario D. Rankin for sitting and sharing with us. As we're having this conversation, thanks to a lot of our listeners who are out and about and sharing. We do have a caller online, but maybe I'll take the call and then read our messages from.
Okay.
All right, let's take the call. Let's go to the phones as we get up to the 2 p.m. news. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Afternoon, Mr. Sterling. Afternoon, Mr. Mario.
Afternoon, sir.
Hey, I like the ideas. I like the ideas. If you're not running for elections next time, I'm not voting at all. But I still believe like the licensing part when it comes into the foreigners now. Say for example now caregivers and they have to go to the supermarket and say the owner of a vehicle is in the household and they permission to use the vehicle and the caregiver cannot use it because they don't have a license because they're banned from they're not allowed to have a license. Is that useful?
Special allowances for special circumstances. So that would be one of those that the board would sit and say, okay, this is warranted.
Okay, I want to continue on. I want to ask.
Go ahead. I agree with you, and that's a good point.
Yeah. With your point, finish it, and if I may, I want to ask after you. I don't put you off too much. Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to ask something else?
No.
Okay.
Well.
So let me ask then. Should a person who is on a work permit also be allowed to take out a work permit for somebody else? Now, it doesn't matter whether it's
absolutely not.
Right? So you... Huh?
No, I believe not.
Okay. And you agree, my friend.
But don't we not have the situation where somebody is working somewhere as something, whatever the capacity is, has now hired somebody else as whatever we call it, to assist in the home in whatever capacity or in some fashion?
I don't know. I don't know that a person that's on a permit assisting in the home can hire somebody else.
No. Somebody who. So let me be there. So you have, use your terms in the executive category, a person working.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I got
and
what
now
you're
has
saying.
hired a caregiver, a nanny, what we call a helper, whatever we call it.
Yeah, caretaker.
Yeah, because that person in the work permit is now taking out a work permit with somebody else.
Actually, that does take place. You know what? I used to work immigration, so I happen to know that is a ongoing thing, and I think that I think that's a complicated one. I mean, but I can give you my opinion.
Yeah.
I can give you my opinion straight up. Here's what Mario Rankin believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that no helper that takes care of people, children on the executive level should be driving to and from schools picking up nobody children. That's my opinion.
Okay. And the reason, the reason why I ask, right? I was privy over the years to just sit and chat with people. Great.
And to your point about somebody on an executive level hiring a caretaker for their children to work in the home in which they are, I think that the employer should provide a local person to do that in order to take care of the children that don't require a work permit. But again, that is all something that we need to grow into because not many Caymanians want to be a caretaker.
No, fair enough. But also to not to put you off for your thought as you call in, right? But so listening to these individuals over the years, these are many of whom, long-term visitors. Yeah.
Or actually, caller, just bear with us 1 second. Or actually, what should happen is that when a person is brought in on an executive level that has children, that employer should be responsible for the daycare of the children as well. So they would have to take the permit out along with that.
Right.
So instead of the person themselves doing it, the employer should be responsible. That's a quick fix.
Yeah, man. And we have... go ahead, my friend.
No, what I was trying to say, right, is like, for example, if I was to be super busy and I don't have the means to pick up my child or my wife, whoever it is, and I want to ask my caregiver if she's willing or he is willing to do so for me, I have my car, let's go. You can pick it up here if you want, or you could take it if it's at my home. You understand, like, leave the accommodations to them where they are provided the service as well, because if they don't if we're talking about decreasing the amount of vehicles driving in the car, in the roads, right? It's not about taking license away from people or privileges of taking their license away and whatnot, right? I would believe that it would be that if you are on a work permit here in the Cayman Islands, you should not have to purchase a vehicle unless you are here for X amount of years. I say years because they have people here temporary work permit, go and purchase a little $500 car and just go and give it to someone else or sell it to someone else. And it happens as a cycle. I know this for a fact. And this is something that I still do believe that it's better that they can get their license, but without the permission to purchase a vehicle unless you are here and needed to purchase a vehicle for a long period of time.
All right. Well, I want to answer your point you made earlier about if you can't pick up your children. Let me make this very clear, my friend. Listen to me good. If you are a parent in these islands and you can't pick up your child or find somebody to pick them up and responsible enough to pick them up, you don't even deserve a helper. First of all, we're going to create a whole law just because somebody's inconvenienced one day out of the week or the month so that they can allow their helper to pick up their child. If you can't pick up your child, you find a way to pick them up. You make sure that that's your responsibility. But we're not accommodating your one-off. We're not creating a whole law that can create an onslaught snowball effect of people being on our road simply because you chose to sit in longer in a meeting than to go pick up your child. There's nothing in this world more important than death or picking up your children, my friend. So whatever it is you got to do, you make your adjustment, because I can tell you what Mario Rankin did for his 2 children all the days of their life. Unless I was not on this island or sick in the hospital, I picked my children up every day. I canceled meetings. I walked out of meetings. I walked out of boardrooms to go pick them up. So I know accommodating the lack of the responsibility of a parent so that we can accommodate them for when they don't want to pick up their children. I don't agree with that.
As we go into the news, let me read this listener. I think, Mario, you'll find this in agreement. How about the executives in this example on the work permit contracting Caymanian-owned businesses that provide daycare service, etc., to provide that service? Any thoughts? Just like what you said, right? And then, it is
those things are provided in other jurisdictions. I'm not saying that we should do monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that if we're gonna focus on the quality of life in the Cayman Islands for its people and the sustainability and the continuity, these are the hard decisions we got to make. We got to stop finding reasons to do it and start finding reasons to not do it.
Right. And these are discussions, and as we have it, my good friend, we're gonna pause to take the news, and we'll continue our discussion later. But thanks for calling. All right.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Health Services Authority is reminding the public that the refill clinic is located at the General Practice Clinic on the 2nd floor of the Smith Road Medical Center. In international news, the Taliban government in Afghanistan is putting women abuse survivors in prison and claiming it is for their protection, according to a UN report. The UN said the practice harms the survivors' mental and physical health. There are also no more state-sponsored women's shelters, as the Taliban government sees no need for such centers, the report noted. The Taliban's suppression of women's rights in Afghanistan is one of the harshest in the world. A first-of-its-kind survey of 1,000 cat owners has thrown up new information about feline play habits. Academics at Sussex and Northumbria universities said the findings suggest owners should keep an open mind about the stimulation their cats might respond to. The research was first published in the science journal Nature. Many cats instinctively like to play, the report says, and owners are being urged to think more about the types of activities they could do to keep their pets happy and active. It found cats generally prefer to be in control of the game and do not require training to play. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman is pleased to present their annual All-Island Children Christmas Party, Sunday, December 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Lions Community Center. Presents, games, bouncy castles, and more for children 12 and under. Busing will be provided in all districts starting from 12 p.m. in North Side and West Bay. Return buses will depart the Lions Center at 4:15 p.m. Visit the Lions Club of Grand Cayman Facebook page for the district locations pickup. The All Islands Children Christmas Party, December 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Lions Community Center.
A house isn't a home without the perfect furnishings and decor. At Robert Wood Furniture and Design, we have everything your home deserves. Shop now for incredible store-wide savings up to 50% off on sofas, beds, dining tables, and chairs. Or ask about our custom furnishing options and interior design services. Find the perfect gift ideas with accent pillows and vases starting at just $10. Lamps as low as $20. Whether it's kitchen and bathroom remodeling to flooring and window treatments, lighting, fans, furniture, and home decor, Robert Wood Furniture and Interiors has all you need this Christmas. Visit our website, robertwoodky.com. Like, follow, and share our page on Facebook and Instagram, Robert Wood Furniture and Interiors, or swing by our store at Cayman Center, Owen Roberts Drive. Wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a prosperous and healthy New Year.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. I want to read for our listeners, and thanks to Mr. Mario D. Rankin for sitting with us. A couple of messages that came through as we were talking about work permits and who should have and whichever. This listener says, in my humble view, we went wrong by coupling the grant of a work visa, which is exactly what a gainful occupational license, also known as a work permit, is, right, with a path to permanent residency and a Caymanian status. These privileges should have never been intertwined. I keep saying it. We elect them, but they don't represent us. And the consequences, of all this is that rapacious appetite for the work permit revenue.
Right.
So if we see the problem, why are we not doing something about it? Mr. Rankin, you referenced just then that perhaps when we have a work permit holder being allowed to get a work permit for somebody to take care of children, pick their children up from school, it doesn't matter how much money that person makes, doesn't matter how much work permit fee is paid for that person. The consequence is the impact on the infrastructure worth it? Is the delay, of maybe you getting, not just you personally, from home to school or work or whatever, times 50,000, really bearing fruit? Right? No,
there's definitely no value for money in that.
Okay.
There's not a fair trade-off in that, and that's just Mario's opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
And and to our last caller, and I agree with him that these are some of the considerations that need to be sought before we make decisions. But if we keep finding reasons not to make the right decisions, we're going to be in this perpetual state of failure. So we need to make the hard decisions. They're not going to be popular. They're not going to be liked by those people that it affect. But you know what? It's like everything else in every country have their unique policies and legislation that you have to adjust to.
Right.
Right? If I decide to go live in Bermuda, I know that I'm not be able to buy a car in Bermuda because it's against the law there. Right? I know that I'm not going to be able to own property in Bermuda because it's against the law there.
Right.
Now, if I still choose to go to Bermuda, knowing these things, but I go there and try to circumvent the way that they do things, I'm going to be the odd one out.
So let me then ask you, with that in mind, right? In Bermuda, I believe it's the same. It was even as a Bermudian, that's what they call, and you buy a vehicle, they have a certain size requirement. And if you've been there, you've seen that they've cut their vehicles down. They don't stretch them, they shrink them, right? Kind of strange looking something. But I asked that to ask, if in the Cayman context, we've now passed the legislation that say you can't import a car over a certain year and whichever. I have listened to not just car enthusiasts, but our young people. Because I want to engage, I want to see how they're thinking. Are they repeating stuff just because they hear it in schools or their parents, or to what extent? Word to the wise, listen to them. They actually think, they're actually wise, they actually have something to say. Allow them to talk. They say, what sense does that make? Now, because I have this view, I want to make sure it's not a misplaced view. If I have 1,000 cars, and I would drove one every day for 1,000 days, I can only drive one car a day. one car at a time.
One at a time.
Right? And if I had the financial wherewithal to license and insure all 1,000 of them,
that's good revenue.
The only person that's benefiting from that is the insurance and the government, not me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to some people, you shouldn't be allowed to have more than one car.
I heard.
Does that help? I mean, I'm just trying to understand.
I heard. I think I may have heard Wayne Pannon and them back in the day. Okay. When I say back in the day, because no, he's gone. Thank God. They was entertaining the idea of certain amount of cars per household.
Yeah.
Right. And I just thought that was the most oxymoronic decision or conclusion, only because the facts are there. You can see them for yourself. But now, if you are too coward to implement the right things and trying to find every other thing to implement in order to accommodate everybody, then you're not really helping the situation.
So having that one car doesn't matter if you have.
It don't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter because you as an individual can drive more than one at a time.
And I've heard that from students.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about young boys and girls. Hope they don't mind me saying that. Who are still got a few years left in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Not college students, just listen to them. Yeah. And they're dreaming, boys and girls, not just boys. They're dreaming about their car one day, right? Now, you got to have a dream, right? So let me then ask, with that in mind, go back to what you shared. I've said hopefully, clearly, and certainly respectfully. Go ahead, Mr.
But implementing a certain amount of car holes per household in Cayman was to accommodate the overloading of people that we allowed to have cars.
Okay.
Understand? So we were going to disenfranchise the quality of the Caymanian experience as a Caymanian because we've allowed everybody on a work permit to have a license and a car.
Right.
So we're going to legislate laws now to inconvenience the locals in order to accommodate the things that are causing the problem.
I mean, if you want a 65 Mustang, a 69 Chevy, why can't you? Right?
Well, you can get a special permission. But so when we passed this 7-year law, not really thinking, we should have just simply made it clear.
Yeah.
But you see, we were too concerned about making too many sectors of the people mad. A lot of the things that are needed still are not popular.
But your parents told you no, and it was good for you. It wasn't popular. You didn't like it, right?
Well,
not you personally, but So let me ask that and certainly jump in, right? And the reason why is that I said yesterday, and I wanted to say today, given that I'm going to take a couple of days off as of today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I am sufficiently convinced that we're going to have a lot of good conversations between now and Christmas and New Year's. And these are the conversations that we've always had.
Right.
I think back to the days when the seafarers used to come home. That was the best time. Because they would be out in the backyard enjoying the food and the festivities. And boy, you learned a lot about their adventures and endeavors, right?
Right.
So, and that continued.
I remember a couple of months ago, or maybe a couple of years ago, I said on this show, I said that nobody should be selling real estate on a work permit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm still a heavy advocate for that.
Yeah.
And I still think that the whole Cereba brand is a cartel. And that, there's ways that we need to go about restructuring that. And I remember shortly after that day, a person that is here as a permanent resident who subsequently got a status had bought a few properties and they were renting them out, and I ran into them at one of the local sports bars. I was watching sports, and they say, "Oh, you the guy that anti-foreigner selling real estate?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You Skippy? I am. I'm that guy." "Well, what make you think that a Caymanian could sell real estate? You have to be at a certain professionalism and you have to have this training." I said, "First of all," I said, "let me explain this to you." Because he had broke down the analogy I use about selling a car.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, what make you think it's as simple as selling a car?" I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have to have a registration of ownership for a car?" "Yeah." I said, "Do you have to have registration of ownership for land?" "Yeah." I said, "Well, don't you have to show proof of ownership before you sell it?" "Yeah." I said, "When you sell it, don't you have to have a witness signature in front of a justice of the peace or a person of statute that is responsible, and then you pay whatever the transfer fees are, and you do all these things?" And I say, isn't these things almost identical? "Well, yeah, but it's not the same as selling. You have to have I say you have to have professionalism. When somebody say, 'Hey, Mario, I want to buy your land,' and I say, 'Well, I want this amount for it,' and you say, 'Okay,' and I say, 'Well, sign this document,' and I transfer it. I said, yes, you need to have certain level of etiquette and understanding of the laws in the Cayman Islands. I get that, but you don't need to set a 2-course college executive test to get certified by Cereba in order to be able to sell real estate in the Cayman Islands. I'm sorry. That is just a hurdle, a fake hurdle that they put up to minimize the motivation for Caymanians to get into that field. This is to allow people like you to come to Cayman so that you can look me in my face, because now you got status. We went and made a mistake and turned you into one of us. And now all of a sudden now you want to be contradicted with me because I simply trying to carve out a niche market for Caymanians who may not go and get a college degree or a PhD, who can become very wealthy by selling real estate. You don't need to be some nerd or some person with 10 degrees to sell real estate. And the average person can sell real estate once they know the ins and outs of the laws and the transfer. So what are you trying to say?
Well, I certainly appreciate that, because I've heard lawyers who specialize in conveyancing into the land law applaud the fantastic land registry system that we have, and they, as lawyers, take on the professional liability, and they do all the conveyancing, they do all the heavy lifting with the contract, with the signing, the transfer, land, the registering, the real estate agents, consummate the deal, but they're the ones that do the work, right? So from what I gather, you sell the land, you put the buyer and the seller together, but the lawyer does the work.
You know what really irks me and get under my skin?
Okay.
Is when you go to attain a mortgage, there's a legal closing fee.
Yeah.
Why? If the bank has approved me for a mortgage for the amount that the seller wants, and the stamp duties are clear, there's no discrepancy in what the stamp duties are. They're there. So how is it that I need a lawyer and pay an additional $7,000 in closing legal fees when the bank willing to pay the seller exactly what we agreed on? Oh, and by the way, the stamp duties is also included in that requisition, because you ain't getting no land without paying your stamp duties. And I'm not proceeding with my mortgage unless I'm fully approved. So why is it that there's a legal fee attached to that, when all you got to do is transfer the funds from point A to point B, sign the land registry and have that, and then pay the stamp duties, and you're on your way?
Right.
Now lawyers would argue that why I need a lawyer to draft that paperwork that is readily available at the land registry.
Okay. Now I hear your point, but what I understand, and if this is different, let me know, right? That the banks charge that legal fee, whatever the amount is, as a percentage or what have you, but you, the customer, paying that, but it's for the banks. That legal opinion and that protection is the banks. What
legal opinion? What opinion?
No, that's what I'm saying. My understanding is that you're paying the fee as the customer getting the loan. It's not a mortgage, right?
Well, it's a demand loan,
yeah. And
they call it a mortgage.
Yeah, and the bank is the beneficiary of that thing. You're paying for their benefit. That's my understanding.
So let me ask you this question then.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm not using the bank, and I'm using money that I have in the bank. Let's say I got a trust fund. I know that would never happen to Mario, but
I can lend you mine.
Some people has inherited trust funds.
Yeah.
So let's just say, for argument's sake, hypothetically, Mario got $4 million in the account, and it's free and clear because I inherited it from my presumed dad or mother.
Uncle. Okay? Long lost uncle.
All right. and I find a piece of property for sale at a real estate company. Let's say it's registered at one of the real estate companies. And I go in and I say, hey, I want to do a cash offer. Right? And they say, okay, no problem. This property that I want to buy, or a house or whatever it is. Why in the world now that I should be subjected to a legal fee?
Is it registered? Is the charge? So you bought it with cash? Are you bought against it?
No, I'm buying it with my cash, my liquid. I ain't going to the bank for any bank transaction or approvals. I gonna use my money out of my account that I have in my savings to buy a piece of property or a house. Why am I subjected to a legal fee for closing? Why? You want $100,000 for it? I count it out cash and give you. You do the transfer, I pay my stamp duties, I go on. Why do I need a lawyer to get in the middle of that to charge me something additional that's not necessary? Now, I'm not saying that in some cases where property has a lien on it and it has other people on it and the bank is giving you a mortgage, the bank want to make sure everything is legally done, and that because obviously the bank got to put a lien on it because you borrowing money from them. I get that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But what happens when you paying cash your own money? Why does you go get a lawyer in the middle of that?
Okay, I've understand from people who've done that.
How many lawyers brokered the sale of a car?
Okay.
You got a car on the side of the road for sale, You still got to go to licensing department. You got to get it witnessed. You got to get it transferred. You got to pay for the new documents. You got to pay the transfer fee. You got to pay all these things. But no lawyer now in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, these are some of the small issues that we can talk about that create major issues for the small man. Right? The small man shouldn't have to be paying these large sums of money for closing fees for something that should be straightforward.
Maybe this comes back to one of the things.
We created an industry for these fraternities to make money. That's all we've done.
What you said earlier, that maybe as politicians and policymakers,
they better pray to God that Mario don't get in charge. I can tell you that right now. All the people that are getting fat and wealthy and rich and used to get filthy rich on the backs of Caymanians, they better know, they better pray. They better sleep on that same side of the bed, I can tell you that.
Do we have the final break, Miss Susan? All right. Goes quickly, eh? Final break and then closing thoughts. Join us.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's going on? When they don't know what they want for Christmas, where do you go? Cellular World. When they do know what they want for Christmas, where do you go? Cellular World. When you need a new phone, where do you go? Cellular World. Who has the biggest selection of phone cases, headphones, and accessories? Cellular World. Who has the best service for mobile phone repairs? Cellular World. This holiday season, shop Cellular World, Cayman's one-stop shop for phones, accessories, and repairs. Located in Baytown Plaza, West Bay Road, across from the wharf. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Cellular World.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers of the following holiday hours at both its Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac offices. Friday, 22nd of December 2023, office hours 8:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. Cashiers will close at 11 a.m. Office will reopen on Wednesday, 27th of December. Friday, the 29th of December 2023, office hours will be 8:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. Cashiers will close at 11 a.m. Office will reopen Tuesday, 2nd of January 2024. The board, management, and staff of the Water Authority wish its customers and the public a safe and a healthy holiday season.
Deck the halls with beautiful furniture and decor without breaking the bank. Enter the Beacon Furniture Holiday Raffle and win big. That's right, shop at Beacon Furniture and you can be our next winner. With each purchase, customers have a chance to win $500 in Beacon cash. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to spruce up your home for the holidays. Join us on December 30th for the drawing at each location. 2 lucky winners will be chosen, one at our Savannah store and another at our Red Bay location. Each winner will walk away with $500 in Beacon credit. Don't wait, start shopping today. To learn more about the Beacon Furniture Holiday Raffle, visit our website, beaconfurniture.ky, or come by our stores. 2 locations, 32 Hurst Road, Savannah. Call 945-2348 or 386 Shamrock Road in Prospect. Call 943-2500. Good luck and happy shopping.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And with like 6 minutes and 15 seconds of today's program remaining, I'm told I got to be on time. Mario D. Rankin. Always a pleasure, man. And I'm looking forward to not just between now and the end of the year having conversations with you publicly and otherwise, but in the new year as well.
Right.
Share what you want, and I'll ask a few other things as well.
Well, I just want to continue to advocate for sensibility, practicability, and common sense.
Right.
Right. Because if a lot of things that have been talked about for many years had even the slight indication that they would be implemented, it would garnish enough confidence from the people who understands it to get behind it. And because we've talked about a lot of things for a long time, not too many things have gotten the consideration that it deserves in order to be even considered to be implemented.
Yeah.
And like I talked about, if you're not Caymanian, you can't sell real estate,
right.
And these other things. These are good things that could carve out some nice areas for Caymanian participation. It can also then generate new wealth. So distribution of wealth in the Cayman Islands is something that has been long absent because of the stronghold that certain people have and the lobbyists and all these things. And again, we can talk about those things until we grow old.
Right. But let me then ask, right? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, see, you cause us to think, right? And to think, well, I don't agree. No, think, I agree. Or what about this? And that's what I'm hoping that we will do consciously, over the next 2 or 3 weeks as we do. But we haven't been doing it publicly like we used to. And it's about encouraging a sense of confidence and a sense of obligation to have these conversations. There are 2 things I want to maybe ask. We understand that, the government will have an immigration policy, this report and whichever. And there are some people who ask the question, well, if people are applying for PR or for whatever it is, and they're struggling now with their income, and then if they were to be granted citizenship status, PR, then to what extent will their new legal status entitle them to added government assistance?
NAU, of course.
Yeah. What would that happen? Should that be allowed?
No, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
It's funny that every country, regardless of its economic state, has some sort of system in place to help their people through a social welfare program.
Right.
And I don't see why Cayman should be assuming the responsibility for other jurisdictions who have not only more resources but higher GDP in some cases, and a large part of the problem in a lot of these third world countries, and most of them is because misappropriated funds.
Yeah.
Not that they're not generating GDP, it's just not reaching people. And so to your point, or back to what you said, is that if a person is working and struggling while they're working here in certain areas, and then the eligibility for PR and the consideration should not be something that goes on the table. Again, we need to clean up these policies and these laws in order to have a better fine-tuned policy. So when a person is a permanent resident and has been granted, they were granted under a regime that says, okay, this person has that eligibility based on these things. So if we're going to be granting PRs in order and creating this welfare state, That's counterproductive.
You're burdening...
When one of your largest point gatherers on the PR system is property ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, So again, we got to stop allowing people to walk dogs and volunteering at these rallies and different things to get points on your PR. PR should be merely on the capability, because when you come into Cayman Islands and you get those residency that you can get, where you don't have to, not the right to work, but anyway, I can't remember what it's called now. Forgive me.
You're going, okay.
But you have to demonstrate that you have the financial capability to take care of yourself.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
But again,
for your certificate,
these are some of the things that we need to relook at and reshape. And I remember talking to Kenneth a couple of weeks ago, just in regards to the immigration reform. Because he had up a billboard saying immigration reform. No, he just didn't list what immigration reform he was referring to. But we kind of touched on it briefly. But I understood his position clearly. I don't understand him putting back this bid about referendum for port. This man has obviously at a spoiled nut off of some tree, because we ain't building no cruise berthing facility in Georgetown Harbor. I'm sorry. Get that off your agenda. When we should have had the referendum and the PPM cowardly bailed out, you should have left it right there, because we ain't building no cruise port in Georgetown. I just got to put that in there. So I hope he understands that.
You see, this is where if we have a true democracy, right, the health of it is allowing everybody to be able to have a voice. And that momentum, that demonstration of the public, not just the voters that are verified, but the wider public on a unified voice, shows what we can accomplish if we have a shared agenda, right?
You know what trumps? You know what trumped the necessity of a referendum in the time in which we did that petition? You know why? And this is my assumption, Mr. Sir Alden. I'm only assuming that this is the position your government took. You know what trumped doing the referendum?
Yeah.
Is when they threw that curveball at CPR about, you got to verify the signatures.
Yeah.
And the moment that Wesley Howell and his office verified those signatures, he couldn't question Wesley's integrity.
Yeah.
Right? He then realized that, wow, this is real. These people, this is what they want. So no need to have a referendum, because it's going to fail.
Yeah.
His government will fail at getting what they want, because he didn't want to be labeled in history of the government who had a referendum and the people voted against. Smart move, Alden. Genius, actually. And now Kenneth blindly wants to have a referendum so he can go down in history of the people voting against him. Yeah.
But you remember,
poorly advised.
Yeah, the late Pastor Al and others who were in the House at the time, and the issue surrounding, and the sitting speaker said, remove the strangers, and they marched to the glass house. And then as a result, there were a petition. Then the numbers were verified, and X became X minus 2 based on, the verifiable signatures.
Right.
So part of the parcel, but to your point, it now just cemented the whole thing.
Well, I'll share this with you lastly. I know.
I
be all the time. Don't worry, Miss Susan. We're not gonna get you fired today.
Maybe tomorrow, but we don't know what to do.
Let me just leave this with you. During the CPR campaign, in which we got the signatures verified, during the process of the verification, the then opposition member Kenneth Bryan floated this idea about, I want to piggyback the gambling vote and the marijuana vote. I said, but Kenneth, you can't do that, because the people that we went and asked to sign this petition, we didn't talk about those things.
Right.
We would be very disingenuous if we were to take their vote, their signatures, and threw other things in there and change the nature of that petition. I said, I'm personally not subscribing to that, and I'm absolutely sick to my stomach that you suggested that.
Yeah.
I didn't agree. No, I never said that we shouldn't have a referendum on gambling and marijuana.
No.
I never said that.
No.
Go do your own petition, so that those people who sign it know what they're signing it for.
Yeah.
And then now to come with this again, it tells me that he hasn't learned anything.
Or is it that there is something else afoot?
No, sometimes when you try to outsmart people, but you end up outsmarting yourself. Case in point, poster child.
You have caused me to write down a number of things I want to ask, but I want to be respectful to Susan and her fantastic team here. I enjoy your company. You intrigue me. You inspire me to think as many do, and I don't always necessarily. But anyway, thank you for what you shared.
Absolutely, thank you, Radio Cayman.
Yeah,
and to all your wonderful staff. And Merry Christmas to everybody in Radio Cayman.
All right. have a wonderful, safe, blessed, productive, enjoyable Christmas. I shall not speak as long and eloquent as sometimes, but
well, I know that I'm not gonna be invited back to Radio Cayman until you come back next year. Okay, so I good.
It's not how long between now. Thank you all for listening to me for this time, and thank you for the privilege and the honor to have been able to sit in the seat. Our good colleagues Kathy and Ray will fill in while I'm, enjoying myself. To family and friends who've invited me to share in the festivities in Turtle. I know Maria's going to be cooking up some good stuff.
Boy, cooking some turtles, some Cayman style lobster, some stew conch. My daughter come back from England tomorrow and she asked me to cook some stew conch, so I can be bubbling that down tomorrow. We don't eat no turkey and no foreign food in our kitchen during Christmas. all local stuff.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And thanks again. And can I just say to our people, go ahead, Mario.
I just wanted to do one little small plug. The Cayman Style Everything book that I was writing is finished. I'm just doing some fine tuning, so I got electronic copies. I'm gonna do some hard copies, so everybody can get a little copy.
All right. You know what? Let me just say no more other than this. We will have a couple more gift certificates, compliments, or reflections to give away. So listen up. To our billionaires so far, congrats. Tomorrow, okay. Well, you collect it when you call and you win. This gift certificates are here at Radio Cayman. I'm actually gonna have them physical in my hand. I forgot to put them where you could find them. Anyway, that's on me, man. And tomorrow, in West Bay, the former speaker and the honorable member for West Bay Central is having a function. There is the wonderful event with the sports ministry and the culture ministry.
I saw that on the social media page. Yeah.
Tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. at the Eastern Heritage Field. Susan, give me a minute. Let me put on my glasses. Lions Club having their All Island Christmas party on. I should be able to see this right. Susan, make this thing bigger. Okay, on the 17th, 4 p.m. at the Lions Community Center. Of course, the carnival tomorrow, 4 to 9 at the West Bay Heritage Field. And the Farmers Market having their Christmas night market on the 15th, which is today, starting at 4 o'clock. And there's a Christmas market 12 to 3 tomorrow, in the former Margaritaville Hotel. There's the gift of Christmas, all sorts of things, the toy giveaway. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff going on. People are doing it well. And then I would almost want to joke and say there's something else, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to be here tomorrow to clean up my mess. All right. Thank you all. We can talk to you soon. Susan, good country Christmas music. And to all, I'll see you in the new year.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Merry Christmas to you, the entire Radio Cayman crew, and everyone who listens to Radio Cayman here in Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Grand Cayman. Have a very merry, 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 merry Christmas and a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year.